Live. Hello, everyone. Hello. And sometimes it
Hello.
takes time. It takes time to go live. So, hello, everyone. I'm back with Lisa. This is the fifth podcast of healthy marriage with Lisa and Kiko because we have a very healthy marriage that we would like to share our tips and tricks on sustainable healthy marriage on raw vegan lifestyle. And today's topic, I am so excited. What men want, and this is a very broad topic, and it's kind of you know like every man is different, every person is different, but I thought it's kind of fun to ask our husband what do they appreciate in us, right? Because we've been in a relationship with our husband for some time, and um, I have quite a few single women asking for tips on finding a man and how to attract men. And I think for long-term relationship, it's not what women think is important. This is
Mm.
my opinion, right? So let's dive into it. How are you, Lisa, by the way?
Oh, I'm good. I'm busy, 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 busy.
This
My
is a very busy time.
It's a very busy time. I'm almost finished. I think I might be able to finish it tonight. My new perimenopause book. I won't have pictures for the recipes yet. I'm going to work on that, in April, but it's 500 pages. It's
Again. Okay,
so
with 500 Lisa working behind the scene, ladies and gentlemen, don't be fooled. She's got copies all around.
yep, yep.
Oh my God. I,
Dude.
I just saw, yeah, you share the cover page of your new book coming up. I was
Mhm.
so excited. You always have such a beautiful design, and I can't wait to go into that. What you're going to share. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good, I hope. I go into like what perimenopause is, what kind of symptoms you might expect to have. I talk about what I call the raw myth, where people assume that if you are raw, you'll never have symptoms. You'll never even go through menopause. And for some women, they don't. But to put that blanket statement out and say, like, every single woman on Raw will not go through menopause. And, it's kind of like we can't stop menopause any more than we can stop puberty. Like, it's just a natural phase of our, evolution as a human being individual on this planet. And if we're lucky enough to go through menopause, right, and to become that wise grandmother, I talk a lot about, why we might have this as human beings, because there's not very many species
Mm.
who actually go through menopause. So, I talk about that. I talk about the symptoms. I talk about all the different body systems that are affected by the lowering of estrogen. And then we talk about, lifestyle things and things we can do and foods that we can eat. And I talk about saffron and fenugreek seeds and psyllium husk, which is absolutely mind blowing. I have some information on in the book about bile salts and how the psyllium can absorb some of the toxins in the bile salts, and then the liver produces more. And yeah, it's a really, really interesting stuff. And then there's 35 recipes in there featuring a lot of the ingredients that I talk about in the book too. So it's going to be really good. Coming
You
in
are
May.
you are definitely a shining star.
Mm.
And thank you so much, Lisa. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too,
You
Kiko.
are truly amazing. You make the whole raw vegan lifestyle so much
Oh.
fun. I just commented on your, YouTube channel. Yeah, Lisa is going for everyday YouTube challenge, right? And your contents are always amazing. Bella was actually mentioning that she's doing fantastic with her business. She said when she was determined to do her business model based on Lisa's protocol. I mean, and because you give, you're successful because you give and give, and
Mhm.
you make it fun. That's also excellent.
Aw.
eh, uh, you know, excellent yeah, excellent thing about you is that you just make it doable, fun, and sustainable, right? Not
Mhm.
just one time reset protocol.
Yeah, it's about lifelong, like the healthy marriages, right? It's
Yes,
got to
yes.
be the long game.
Lifelong, yeah, lifelong relationship,
Mhm.
long friendship. I'm really excited for our friendship as well.
Mhm.
So what men wants? I wanted to discuss about. There are a few points that I wanted to cover. So unspoken needs of men in marriage, how shared life choices can strengthen bonds or reveal hidden tensions. The role of vitality and health in sustaining passion and intimacy, navigating change together, perimenopause, aging, evolving desires, practical ways to nurse your relationships. So we want to cover this, but let's dive into Nate's list of why he decided to marry you, why he keep on loving you, why he keep
Mm.
on, even loving you more and more.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, it's been so amazing, and there's always going to be things that we're going to work on in the future, and stuff that we can work on today for sure. But I asked him. I said, "Okay, so what do men want?" This is what I asked him.
Oh my
So
God.
the first thing that he said was to be desired, to be wanted, to be, not just physically, but also like that he has a place, that he has men want to fix things. They always want to like have a solution and stuff like that. So being wanted, being desired, having a place, that was like the first thing he said. And then he said, respected. One thing that came up was with his past relationship. Um, she would like say things in front of his friends. Like she'd roll her eyes at him or whatever. Like when he was vegan, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, my husband's vegan," or whatever. Like, to be
Mhm.
respected, or to be, another thing that he said was to stick up for them. When you're around other people, to not, roll your eyes at them or whatever, like actually stick up for them and support them in what they believe or what they want. Like, even if you disagree with something, like, support their choice. And that's another thing that I think people forget a lot. In all kinds of relationships, and especially online, is that if you disagree with somebody, it doesn't mean, like, when you validate them, it doesn't mean that you agree with their perspective or their opinion or their point, right?
Mhm.
But to validate someone and say, I can see your perspective, being able to be in their shoes, like what they're experiencing and how they came to that conclusion,
Mhm.
validating that can go a long way in a relationship. And again, that doesn't mean, if people seem to think it's like if somebody says something they disagree with and they're like, "Oh, okay," it's automatically that they agree with it too. But it's like, no, it doesn't mean that. It just means you hold space for them, and you
Mhm.
can offer your support to your partner, even if you disagree with, whatever they're thinking or whatever. So he said, yeah, respect. And he also said he really likes the moments, and we talked about this in one of our earlier episodes, is to break the flow of the day and just have a moment together. And we'll do this. We'll just go in, like if he's in the kitchen or he's over here or whatever, I'll go in the office and I'll just open my arms wide and I'll be like, moment. And that's like our signal to be like, we need like 2 minutes just to like hug and just
Mhm.
together. So he said that was really special too. And then he said, one thing that he said men really want is for women to tell them what they want, and not for us to just assume that they know what we want or need. That's a really big one too. And he's been doing something he learned on a reel, and this woman was on a podcast and she was talking about how men have like a, a big bowl for, how can I describe this? Like kind of like compliments, or saying I love you, or saying you did a good job, or whatever. They have a big bowl. And when you put compliments into this bowl, they stay in the bowl, right? They're there. So you can fill the bowl and you're good. You're good to go for a little while, right? Whereas with a woman has like a metal strainer. So whenever you put compliments in, it just falls right through, right? So it's like like men, as what he learned from that was that like he has to consistently give words to me, and that makes me feel like it fills it up a little bit while it falls down again.
Ah,
But this
interesting.
psychologist was talking about
Mm.
how women are like that. Like we get compliments and we're like, yay, thank you. But then after 3 or 4 hours, we're like, do you still love me? Like for some reason, our brains think that way. But with guys, you just say like, oh, I love you. And they're good for like a week. Not that they would be, but like, cause we tell each other we love each other like a zillion times a day. Sometimes we scream it across the house. He'll be in the office and I'll be in the living room, and all of a sudden I hear, I love you, like really loud.
Did
And
you
I'll
know I
scream it
love
back.
you?
Yeah, exactly. So we do that a lot. But that was something that he learned recently, and he's been, filling my, he
Mm.
calls it the sieve. It's just like, it just falls right through. But yeah. And he said laughing, having fun, being easygoing. Those are all things that he really likes about us. And, we do everything together, everything. And we go on like 3-hour walks in the morning, and we just talk, or we work, or, we laugh, we have fun. We work together, we do the same job.
Mm.
There are times where like today, he went grocery shopping, and he bought all the food, and he did that while I was here working, and I had another class that I had to do. So like we do stuff apart, and he's going snowboarding, I think next week. With a buddy, and he went to Aspen with his son too, and they went snowboarding. And even though we don't have the same exact hobbies, it's nice to have those separate hobbies as well, so that
Mm.
he can do stuff with the guys, with his sons. And I can go to the spa with my girlfriends. One day we have to go, but like it's just like fun stuff that we can do, part, and then come together and be like, yeah,
Mm.
oh yeah, here's like, this is what I did, I had so much fun, or whatever. So those would be some things. And of course, obviously, Nate loves that we are on the same page ethically. That's one of the huge things that is really important to both of us, is that we are on the same page ethically when it comes to veganism. The compassion and that kind of thing, it would be really challenging. And I've had relationships in the past, all my relationships in the past, where they didn't align ethically. So it can be really challenging when you have that. Of course, there are many couples that get by and love each other regardless. And again, that comes to the validation thing. Like you can validate, you can support them, but not to belittle them. Like my ex, he supported me in my being vegan. And when we got together, I told him, I was like, I'm vegan, so I'm raw. If you offer anything to me, like it's going to be a no, just so you know. Like
Mm.
you want to date me, that's what it's going to be. And it was okay for a while, but towards the end, there would be, little vegan jokes and stuff like that. And it's just, if you can't respect the fact
Mm.
that I'm trying to align my ethics with my
Mm.
actions, and this is a compassionate choice of mine, like, it's really sad, because so many people who aren't vegan don't understand. And he would always say like, can you
Mm.
help me understand? And I'm like, well, if I could make you understand, then you would be vegan, because then you'd understand.
Yeah.
So it's really challenging there. So that's another big thing that's really important for the
Mm.
two of us, is that we're on the same page there as well. So yeah, that would be some of the ones that he said.
That's beautiful. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have noted being desires, stick up for
Mhm.
him, support their choice, respect. And this, I think this one is very important. Women just assume that, men knows. Men are usually blind. You
Yep.
need to tell them, just like when they're 5 years old, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because like you said, we assume that they're going to know, but because men want to fix things, It's almost
Mhm.
like they need like the to-do list, like this and
Yeah.
this and this and this and this, and then they can just check it off in a
Mm,
way. Like I don't want to say like you're something to check off, but
mm,
like they need to know like what do you need? And then
mm.
we're sitting here like I wish he knew that I wanted him to take me out on a date or whatever. And it's like tell
Yeah.
him that you want him to take you out on a date. And then it's
Mm.
something for him to fix or find a solution for, and he wants to plan that and everything. So yeah, that's it's an interesting one because we have to, it's our throat chakra. We have to like voice what we want in our relationship too.
And yeah, if we don't want any advice or to-do list from
Mhm.
men, we need to let them know. So I just want you to listen, you know? I just need to process. I want to be heard. And this, like, it took a long time for me to learn this. I'm like, and I get offended, like, why is he telling me what to do? Like, I just want, but you need to let them know exactly, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, so there's for those who are watching who are kind of like in the pop culture, there's a new show called Love Story, and it's the story between JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. And in one of the episodes, one of the recent episodes, there was a scene where he was asking her what she wants, and then he was like, "What do you want me to do? Nothing?" And she was like, "Yes!" And just like the look on her face was like, "Yes, I just want you to sit with me." Just sit with me and just feel crappy with me. Like, I don't need a solution. I don't need advice. I don't need this. And something that we learned a long time ago from another like couples therapist reel on Instagram or whatever. There's a lot of advice on there. But she said, she was like, when one person is feeling stuff, if the other partner can say, do you need advice or do you need me to be there? Like, what, or do you need to vent? Really, that's what it was. Do you need
mm,
advice or do you need to vent? And when you say it's like, oh, I need advice, then they're open to give advice. And this works for all kinds of relationships. Like, you get your girlfriend starts complaining and you're like, well, maybe you should try this or maybe you should try that. And it's like, maybe she just wants to vent and like say what she's complaining about. And in those states, I always think just agree and be like, oh, yeah, that sucks. Oh, that's horrible. Or that person, why'd they say that to you? You don't deserve that. Like to just be with them in that situation instead of always, because we're constantly offering advice as human
mm,
beings and we want to help. And it comes from a genuine good place,
mm.
but most of the time, we just want to sit and vent. And so, learning that in a relationship is really important. But the person who's on the receiving end of the venting has to remember to be like, "Oh, do you want to just vent or do you want advice? Cuz I need to know." Cuz if you try to
Mm.
give advice and they're venting, they're going to get, it's going to bubble up more like, "You never listen to me." And all that kind of stuff. So it's a challenging one, but it can be really helpful.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
learning from my experience, I think not, I didn't want to tell what I want because I wanted men to guess, right? Like they should know, right? And
Mhm.
I ended up becoming very passive aggressive
Mm.
because they're not getting what I want. But I mean, they're just innocent being, right? It's like they're just confused. Uh,
Mhm.
and this might not be directly related, but David asked this question:
Mm.
do you have children? So I just thought that these. I'll speak myself. So I don't have any children. I never had any children, and my husband and I talk about it. And I think it was one of the sensitive topic to talk about in the beginning. And I was actually quite surprised that how many couples they never talk about
Mhm.
um, having kids, like if they wanted to have kids. So nowadays it's quite common to for women to work.
Mhm.
So maybe in 20s they're busy working, or even in 30s. Those are very difficult, important time in career, and in 40s. And do we even know if our partner wanted a
Mhm.
child or not? And I even for me, it was a bit difficult to talk about it. And I did talk with my husband, and both of us were actually on the same page. I- if we
Mhm.
have if we happen to have that if I'm pregnant, we'll accept it. But we didn't have a like a real deep desire to have a baby, and now we're pretty much sure that we don't want to have our own baby, and we are very happy with our decision.
Mhm.
So are you happy are you okay sharing that?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't have any children of my own, but Nate has two sons. He has one just turned 23 and the other one just turned 25. So they're my stepsons, and I've known them since they were 14 and 16. So I've known them for like 10 years now, which is crazy. So it's interesting being a stepmom because you are part of their life and you can like help guide them, but you're not the mother at the same time. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure. I was pregnant twice before I even met Nate. So if I would have had those two, it would have, well, probably would have only had one because the second one was kind of close like after. They would be about 13 right now if I would have had her. But it was about 2 months in, I miscarried, and it was intense because you've got all those like pregnancy hormones going on in your body, and your body's like, baby, like that's all you can think of after you have all those hormones in your body, and then you don't have the baby, and then you're like, okay, now what? It's like everything explodes when you no longer have it. So it's an interesting experience. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Nate and I did talk like when we first got together. I was 38 and he was 40 or just 40, 40, 41. And we had talked about it, but he had a vasectomy after his second son was born because he didn't want to have any other kids. And I'm like you. I could go either way. Like if I did get pregnant, it would have been amazing, but we're also happy not. So, it's cool. But personally, I think all my ebooks and, YouTube and my business and everything, that's like my child. And then we have our cats too. And I know they don't count as children, but I feel like they are. So, we have that. We have our own little family here. We have great friends, great community, and yeah, I don't feel the need to have any children. So it was take it or leave it for me, honestly.
Uh,
Yeah.
were you, if you don't mind me asking, was one of first or second miscarriage, was it did you want to have baby or?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, we had my ex and I had talked about, having children, and I did want it. But, now looking back, I'm glad that we didn't because, that relationship was already really strained at that time. So, it was just like, it was kind of in a way like I felt like that was one of my last chances because I think I was 31 or 32 when I was pregnant. So it's kind of like yeah, I was probably 32. Like that was like I have to have a kid. If I'm gonna have a kid, I'm gonna have one now, right? Kind of a thing. And I love kids, and it would be cool to have. But now I'm excited for grandkids. So if Nate's boys have kids, then there'll be kids in our life. We'll be like the cool grandparents in Vegas or whatever. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you already have so much on your plate, and I think, yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure, yeah, you would manage if you have a baby, but yeah, you definitely have many, many babies. Right? Your cats and your business, so much to take care of.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I think this topic is very important. Some women are very determined,
Mhm.
it's the purpose. And I think I felt like having a baby like in maybe early 30s as well.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad that I didn't have
Mhm.
any with it, because none of the relationship before my husband would have worked for
Right.
me. So
Mhm. Yeah,
so
same, same.
yeah, so
It
eh,
would have been awesome if, like, I had met Nate earlier in my life,
uh,
we totally would have. And he told me, he's like, "If you really want a kid, like, I'll reverse the vasectomy and then we'll do
you
it."
could?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, apparently you can. So he was like,
Oh,
"I'll reverse it and we can try." And I'm like, you know, like like I said, I'm on the fence with it. If it happened naturally, I would be so
mm,
happy. But at the same time, I'm also so happy. Like I'm just kind of one of those like optimistic people. Like if it happens, it happens.
yeah,
Yay! And if it
yeah,
doesn't, yay! You know,
yeah,
like it's great either
exactly.
way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, David, I hope that we answered your question. So let's see. Maybe do you want to share something more? If
Oh,
or
I want to hear what your husband said.
yes. Okay. So I've noted we went on hiking yesterday and we talked about it. I've talked. I've asked him this question before, but every time I ask him, something interesting comes up. So he said, here's what I assumed that he appreciate, which he does. But what I thought that, you know, many men want women to be happy, right?
Mm.
They want women to be in a good sense
In a
of
good mood. Yeah. Right.
good mood, right? And it sounds kind of shallow, but in a way, that's what Lisa was sharing, right? Being desire, stick up
Mm-hmm.
for him,
Mm-hmm.
supportive, support their choices. This, if they have a good sense of if they're in good mood, that kind of just vibes out, right?
Mhm. Don't
Um,
we all like other people in good moods?
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly,
very
right? And
yeah.
and that's a reflection of being wanted, being
Mhm.
desired when you're smiling and in a big good mood. If they're not in a good mood, even though it has nothing to do with someone else, it's just you just start thinking, is it me? I'm making her unhappy, So
Yeah.
I hear this a lot from men that when men likes it when women just smile, and they think that we love them, by just smiling, or
Yeah,
laughing.
actually, Nate said that that's one of the things he loves most about me is that I'm always smiley. Every time he'll mention, he'll be like, I just love how smiley and happy you are all the time. And, when he says all the time, it's like most of the time. Cause, there's days where I'm just like, you're tired from work. You're a human being, right? Doesn't
Mm,
matter what diet you follow.
yeah.
Sometimes there's long days, sometimes you feel a little off, sometimes the weight of the world, or like sometimes there's trolls online that say random things that it doesn't bother you, but at the same time it kind of does, and you're
Mm.
just like there's always going to be those the flowing days, and that's just what it is being human. But he told me that he every time he'll be like, I just love how much you smile and you're just so optimistic. I'm a lot more optimistic than I feel a lot of people might be. Like I just find the silver lining in so many things, and he really likes that.
I think many men appreciate that. I'm sure you got that from other, men that you have been
Mhm.
with, right? That
Mhm.
they tend to like that.
Mhm.
Okay. So the list of my husband, okay. So he said he likes it that I am
Ooh.
opinion opinionated. I thought that was very interesting. This is a
Mm.
very atypical Japanese women's character. A lot of men likes a lot of Caucasian men look for Asian women because they think that we are submissive. Like,
Mm.
wait until you meet Kiko. I
Right.
am opinionated.
Right? Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and actually, the first thing he said was, "I like it that you're yeah, vegan activist." Like, I don't do activism work anymore nowadays, but he likes it that I have my own idea and I defend my idea, uh and I express myself in
Mhm.
my words. Open to new ideas, flexible mindset. And he said, "You're mostly 20 years old, but sometimes you're 5 years old." So meaning I'm very playful. Like we're very silly. I always
Mhm.
tell my husband, "You're 3 years old," but when he's in front of his computer, he's like a very wise, 300 years old man. He's like super smart. But yeah, we are very silly and we had so much fun.
Mm.
So that was, yeah, sorry, I just copy pasted what I have noted yesterday. So yeah, um being creative. And I said,
Mhm.
he likes my, I guess, strong character, um
Mhm.
unique. I mean, everyone is unique,
Mhm.
but yeah, he likes it that I stand out,
Mhm.
and yeah, express myself.
Mhm.
But he also mentioned, we talk about the five. What was it? There's
Oh, the
this
love
very
languages?
love language. Yeah, five.
Mhm.
How did you know? You should
Read
like.
your mind.
Yeah, and we talk about it. And he said, he is expressive. He likes expressive,
Mhm.
like so
Words?
words in
Words,
words.
yeah.
Yeah. So I always say, "Oh, you're amazing. You're the most handsome man." I say this all the time to him, like zillion times. When I wake up in the morning and I see his face, I'm like, "Oh my God, you know how beautiful you are. You're the most handsome man I know."
Aw, I love that Nate and I are both yeah, we have words and touch. We are
Mhm,
the same. One thing that is really interesting about the love languages, I was trying to explain to a friend long, long time ago. It was like 20 years ago when I first learned about the love languages. And I was trying to explain to her, I was like, imagine you're in the hospital. You were in a car accident and you're in the hospital and your best friend wants to come and visit you. And your friend says, "What do you want me to bring you that will make you feel better?" And you say, "I just really want the newest book by whatever your favorite author is. That's what would make me feel amazing. Thank you." Right? So you go to the grocery store and or the bookstore and the grocery store or whatever, and you're like, I would like ice cream. If I was in a car accident, I would want ice cream. That's what I would want. So I'm going to get her ice cream. And you totally don't even get the book, right? You go to the hospital and you bring them ice cream and you're like, "Here you go. It's my favorite ice cream. You're going to love it." And then the person who's in the bed who said what they want, they're like, "I just wanted the book." They're like, "Oh, you didn't even listen to me. Like that's not what I wanted." So when you learn about the other person's love language, you can
mhm,
give them that even if it's not your language. So like for
mhm,
some people, it's gifts of service. Like they like it when you make them food or clean the kitchen or fix the car or whatever. They want those gifts of service, like things that you could do for them. And if
mhm,
gifts of service isn't yours, like you could care less if people did stuff for you. Maybe yours is words, and all you want to hear is like how awesome you are to feel loved, and the
mhm,
gifts don't matter. But if somebody keeps giving you gifts and you're like, that doesn't mean anything if you don't tell me that you love me, right?
mhm,
Whereas if somebody else has gifts and you keep telling them that they're amazing, that they're awesome, that they look great, and blah blah blah, like you keep telling them, and they're like, "I don't feel like you love me because, you don't do the dishes, you don't make me food," or whatever it is. Like
mhm,
you have to realize that not everybody's love languages are the same as yours.
yeah.
But I will say, when you find somebody who has the same love languages as you, it is so much easier because you naturally give what you want.
Mhm,
So,
yeah.
when if it's words, if you're both words, you're both going to be like showering each other with words because
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so true. It just makes it so much easier. And I am very, I don't know if you have heard like this dating games of how
Mm.
women should be submissive and not
Oh.
take an action. First action should be by men,
Mhm.
and you should resist. And I never played that game. And I was told so many times that, "Kiko, you shouldn't give it. You
Mhm.
shouldn't tell them how you feel. If you like them, you shouldn't tell them." I'm like, "Why?" And yeah, I think this is my advice, being a now that I found the love of my life, and these average statistic doesn't work with your, own journey. I feel you have to respect your own journey. You have, you should be shameless on,
Mhm.
what you want, sharing what you want. And I think also, like, you know acting how you are supposed to act, like, maybe being liked by majority, right?
Mhm.
Like, maybe many men likes me, but because I'm not showing my true self, I would not ever find my true love. Because how would they know, right? If I
Mhm.
try to act as, majorities, popularity contest.
Right. Yeah, the games are really Nate and I have talked about that often,
Mhm.
where it's like there was no need for games because we just naturally connected. And he said that one of the things that really um made him more interested was my responsiveness.
Mm,
Like when he would send me a message, I would reply right away. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm just going to wait for 2 days and see if he actually really likes me." It's like, "No, I wanted to give him what he was giving me." And it
mm,
was that give and take that really blossomed our relationship, because
mm,
if I was, waiting 2 days, you miss your chance. Sometimes,
mhm,
it's just like, oh, well, he might think like, oh, she's not interested in me. Maybe
mm,
we're just like, whatever. So being responsive really made him be responsive back to me. And
mm,
then we just grew from there so much easier. And we talk about that too. It's like, yeah, the dating world is, I mean, we have friends that are in the dating world and it's
mm.
scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I wonder. I have some people around me who are on the dating. They're single. They're looking for romantic partner, and one of the things they put is the salary. How
Oh.
men does that come to you in this in the states? Like, if they, I think in Silicon Valley area, I heard that
Mhm.
women would um uh they would scale men if they earn certain amount
That's
of money.
interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised, honestly. But yeah, it's interesting how the dynamic is between men and women in the dating world now. Obviously, we're not in it, so we don't see it firsthand. But
Mhm,
because we have friends that are in the dating world, and the stories that they say, like the things that certain people on both sides, men and women, expect from each other, or expect to find, when it's like you're probably not going to find that, because if you're looking for someone who has like specific salary, then what else are you missing? If you're only going for that level, like are you if you're vegan, like are
mhm,
you going to be on the same page ethically? Do you have the same hobbies? Do you communicate the same way? Is one going to be emotionally unavailable and the other one has attachment, relationship tendencies? So it really depends, right? Like you can't say like, oh, well, if they make this much money, then yeah, I'll give them a shot. But that it goes so much deeper than that, and you can lose your job.
true. I have to be
Right.
honest though, there was definitely a time when I was looking for that as well. Like, there was one of the criteria for me,
Mhm.
because it showed like confidence. Like, it
Right.
was men who were earning certain amount of salary. It just They just presented themselves differently.
Mhm.
And the kind of class, the kind of place that I go to would be different with people, men who earn certain money, income.
Mhm. Right.
So for me, that was the reason. But I talk about it with my husband, and he makes good money. He said that, but if women are looking for that, I would not be interested, because
Mhm.
they want to be desired for their
Yes,
character, not what they make as their income, right? So
exactly.
I thought that was very interesting for men's perspective. It
Mhm.
makes sense, yeah.
I have another one that I just thought of. In the early days, like when Nate and I first started dating, he said that it was my mind that really was like a huge attraction, was my intelligence, and the fact that I could go to like listen to different perspectives with him and explore like different ideas, different philosophies, and that kind of thing. And we could go there together, like, conspiracies or something like that, like just random things that, even though they may not be true or whatever, but like we just entertain them and just be like, that's interesting or whatever, right? To be able to go there without being all like closed off, like, no, I don't ever want to hear it, right? And
Mm.
he really liked that about me, that and I think that's another reason why I'm vegan, because I am open to learning things that aren't mainstream, and that I'm more uh, into looking beyond the veil, kind of a thing. So
That's, yeah, I think that's the character of veganism. I think
yeah.
it's exactly what my husband said as well. That,
Mhm.
yeah, we're not scared of speaking about and exploring and making things better. Not just not we're not happy just being stagnant.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
status quo, average.
mm,
Yeah, and obviously the food made a big difference too, because like I taught Nate how to eat raw. Basically, it was my stuff that helped him to change his life. So in a way, that was like a really big
mm,
draw for him, was that I was the one that helped change his life, even though I had no idea that I was the one that did that. So and it's really tough, like when you enter into a relationship, or you have a relationship and you change, if the two people, like we mentioned earlier, if they're just not on the same page with the diet, like one person might be like, oh, let's go to this restaurant tonight, and you're like, oh, they're continually trying to like keep you in the average space, the drinking, or like say you want to stop drinking, and they're like, no, let's go out, and they keep trying to drag you into that world that you're trying to leave, but yet you want to do it
mm,
because you love them, and you don't want to say no, and it's just like it can become a mess,
yeah.
if the person doesn't actually like respect your choices to change and be better. It's change for the better, obviously, that you want to be supported.
Yeah, for long-term relationship, it's so important to reveal yourself, not
Mhm.
to be scared of what other people think,
Mhm.
because, you would, it's very difficult to be happy and content in a relationship you have where you have to hide,
Mm.
right? And here in Japan, things are changing, but traditionally, it's a very chauvinistic country where, men just want women to stay home, not work, and just stay there and smile, cook for me, clean up my shit, and that's it, right? And it worked. I think it served for a certain period of time here in Japan when where men had to, go work, and they were the only person to bring the income into the house. But nowadays the women work, and eh, what happened is that when men just want women to be flat, I see that men just cheat outside. They just want the excitement. They want the connection from someone, but they're not getting from out in from their wife. They just want women to be their mother, right? We're not their mother. We're
It's really
you
sad
know.
because this style of thinking is coming back in the younger generation.
Is that
Um,
right?
yeah, at least here in the States, from what I've seen on social media, and like, because like I follow a lot of feminism kind of pages, like,
Mm,
empowering women and stuff like that. And what we're seeing is a lot of men are falling into, like, there's some social media, like there's some
mm,
big names out there who are trying to push this misogynistic kind of patriarchal view of women back onto them, and there's a lot of the younger generation that is falling into that, and what they're discovering. And I love that you shared about, that the women are, women have jobs now, you can get bank account, like women couldn't get a
mm,
bank account in the United States till like 1975 without a male co-signer. So now that women are more independent and they can make their own money, they can also make their own choice. They're not stuck marrying somebody for money or status or anything like that. Like, we're making our own choices. And if men
Mm,
aren't going to step up and actually support us and understand that we age, like, there's like some men who leave their wives in their 40s for a younger version. It's like, do you realize that she's going to go through perimenopause too eventually? Like, it's
mm,
like, because most marriages end in that perimenopausal age.
mm.
And most of those divorces are initiated by women who are sick of being, that submissive role that they don't
Right.
want to be. And so, yeah, I see this sadly happening in the younger generation, where they're trying to go back to those traditional roles, but it's more of a dominance kind of a vibe. And like I
Mm,
said, there are some like bigger social media names out there who are promoting this to young men who, it's like women should be like the object, the baby. That's all they're good for, is like having your children, and they have to have a boy, so you can carry on your lineage and all that stuff. So it's like I see it coming back, which is
mm.
really disappointing. But in a lot of ways, I feel like society is disappointing in general, because like I was talking about this in a video that I made for YouTube, and it was like 25 years ago, and it's not that long ago, but we were talking about like ultra processed foods not good for you, and it's 25 years later and we're eating more processed foods now than we ever have. And it's like, when are we going to get this? Like, it's just, I feel like society can be going backwards in many ways, even though we're going forward in some ways. It's like it's a slow moving train.
Yeah, I feel like history repeats itself.
Mhm.
And, it's sadly, we have this tendency. It's just like fashion, what was popular in 70s and 80s, that's just, or 60s, it's coming, just recycle. And,
Mhm.
just veganism also, we thought that, we knew that plant-based is better for our body, but like they're going for keto, um, meat-based keto
Mhm.
carnivore diet seems to be popular, although I
Yeah.
don't know people close to me who are in that, but that seems to be the trend.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Carl, thanks so much for commenting. That's so disappointing.
It
Yeah.
is disappointing. It's really sad too to see, how the young ones are so impressionable. And when they see somebody confident, wealthy, good looking, they're going to follow what they say. They're going to say, oh, yeah, you got to do this, and you got to make the money, and you got to chisel your jaw or whatever. Like, I
Mm.
see some men do like, facial exercises to chisel the jaw, because that's supposed to make them, more attractive. And it's just the surface stuff, the shallow things. There's no depth there. And then they talk about how right now there's a male loneliness epidemic happening, where because women can choose, and because women can make their own money, and because women have more power, they're not choosing the men, because the men aren't stepping up and actually being worthy of being chosen. So but it goes both ways too. It's not just the men,
Mm.
it's not just the women, it's both parties need to be on the same page. And both of them have to, like we said, the same thing boils down to respect, support,
Yeah, respect is
listening to each other.
so important. I do believe that the relationship is basically dead and ending if you cannot respect each other. That deep respect. I mean, that I knew in my past relationship, if I couldn't respect this person, nothing would work. And I think that respect for me comes from shared core value,
Yeah.
right? Like for
Mhm.
me, yes, ethical choice is very important.
Mhm.
And in the beginning of the relationship, you're excited, you might be distracted. So
you
I
might make
use
you might make compromises.
Yeah, in the beginning seems to be okay. And then I because my husband was not vegan when we met, and but he was very interested and he liked that I had this vegan meetup and I was very active about it and he liked it. So he was open to the idea. But from he went basically vegan, well, plant-based, and time to time when he is offered by desserts, like, so there's like eggs and milk, dairy products. And I was just pretending that I'm cool with it for the first year. And I started to think that this is disgusting. I do not support that. And for me, right, I'm not saying that for everyone, but for me, it's because this is the person I'm going to exchange my fluid with,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
We're intimate. And
Mhm.
I'm very careful on especially animal products, like something I cannot let um the ethical reason, and also I don't want to bring that suffering into my body.
Mhm.
And if my husband is continuing to eat that, you know, maybe 0.1% of his diet, I don't know, it would just affect me. So I had a talk with him,
Mm.
and I told him that I'm not okay with it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think it's important. It could be very uncomfortable discussion, but I think it's
Mhm.
important that you are safe to be able to express yourself, right?
Mhm.
He might not accept it or she might not accept it, but it's important that you can express yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed. I know you have to have that safety. And we've talked about this before. Um, with Teal Swan, she's the one
Mm-hmm.
that talks about the safety. Like you both have to be each other's safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's no safety there, you're not going to share. The communication's going to break down, and that kind of thing's going to happen. But like when you're contained, when you are safe, you can express yourself, you can share your thoughts, and without thinking that the other person's going to leave or they're going to hate you or they're going to say something mean. And that's easier said than done because we've got past traumas where it's really hard to kind of like say what we want to say sometimes. But having that safe place and fostering that safe place, like constantly letting the other person know that it's okay. And the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're raising children, right? Like you want to always have a safe place for them to come and tell you about the things that are going on that you'd like them to tell you about, right? Like we do this with the kids. We're like, you can always come to me. You can always come to me. But if they start coming to you and you start judging or you start trying to fix or you start telling them what they did wrong, they're going to stop coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So same goes in a marriage. Like if you come with something and you're immediately met with anger or, pushing away or whatever, you're going to stop coming to them. You're going to stop saying
Mm-hmm.
stuff because you're like, I'm just not going to say anything because it's easier to just hold it in than hear what they're going to say. And that happened a lot with my ex. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime I would come with something, it would be, it wasn't his fault ever, or he'd blame someone else, or it would be my fault. And it just was like, I can't share anything with you because anytime
Mm-hmm.
I open my mouth, it's always not your fault. It's someone else's fault. It's whatever. And then I slowly stopped. Slowly stopped because it
That's
was, and that
yeah.
happened a lot with, because he had narcissistic tendencies. And what would happen would be, I noticed this towards the end of our relationship. I stopped hanging out with my family. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I stopped hanging out with other people
Mm-hmm.
because anytime I would, it would be like, why are you doing that? Who are you hanging out with? Well, like it would be like a barrage of questions. And either that or there would be a big discussion about the person who I was hanging out with and how they suck or whatever, or they're mean or they don't like him or whatever it would be. Like it would be about that person, and then it would reflect on me, and I'd be like, oh, so me hanging out with my mom makes you feel uncomfortable, or you're worried that we're talking about you behind your back. And it was every single time that I would go out with other people, I would come back and he would have something to say. So I gradually stopped going out and hanging out with people because I knew it was going to happen. And that's how, a lot of narcissists, even though they don't realize they're doing it, but this is how they isolate you so that you are
Yeah.
always there with them, 100% of the time. You're never going
Mm.
anywhere. And you're more controlled that way because they feel insecure when you go hang out with other people. They don't know what you're talking about or what you're doing or whatever. So that trust that's not there, can really
Yeah.
cause a
I
rift
mean,
too.
I,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that you have been on this relationship, but I think that could definitely change your personality, right? That
Mhm.
you're limited and you little by little, like next minute, you're a complete different person.
Mhm.
And thank God you're with Nate, right? That
I
you can be
know.
completely open and,
Mhm.
express your love and, share, you have a shared um, value that you
Mhm.
want to achieve.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that we've covered so unspoken needs of men in marriage, emotional support, respect, and partnership,
Mhm.
and adventure and growth. Um, and then the how shared life's choices, like raw veganism, we talk about it, or reveal hidden tensions, talk about it.
Mhm.
The role of vitality and health in sustaining
Oh.
passion and intimacy,
Mm.
uh, and then navigating change together, perimenopause, aging, evolving desires, how to stay connected through every season, practical
Mhm.
ways to nurture your relationship from daily rituals to deep conversation that keep the spark alive. So I think we covered, little bit
Mhm.
anyway, but we have like maybe 5-10 minutes. Lisa, do you want to share one of the 4 points 5 points that I've mentioned? Do you want to
Mm.
share something from that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm drawn to talk about like the raw vegan thing, or healthy eating in general, because
Mhm.
when you are, and I know a lot of couples get into, they're eating the same thing, they're eating the junk food, and they kind of encourage each other to eat the junk. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, you want to go out tonight, like, and they're like, we shouldn't, but yeah, let's go, and then you can fall into like this trap together where you're both unhealthy, you're both not moving, you're both sedentary, you're both binge watching Netflix, which is so easy to do. But it's like it's hard when you are with the partner who not only just agrees with everything and wants to do it all with you, but also kind of encourages you to do that too. And when instead we can encourage each other to do healthier things, like hey, let's go for our walk in the morning, and I'm going to make you a healthy dinner or whatever, like, instead of encouraging each other to do the unhealthy habits, start encouraging each other to do the healthy habits together, because that's what's really ultimately going to help you grow. And we want, like, all of us want to be, healthy and vibrant and being able to do stuff and go for hikes and, have a great intimate life and all that kind of stuff. Like, we want these things for ourselves, but it's not going to come when we are consistently encouraging each other to eat
Mm.
things that aren't, or, to sit on the couch all day and stuff. And like I said, it happens. Nate and I like to watch our shows as well. But we also encourage each other to do the things, like we go for our walks every morning, almost every morning. And we're like, when we're on the walks, we're like, we should schedule our gym class, that we want to go do. And so we try our best to encourage each other to do healthier things. Like sometimes, for example, like I do my skincare routine, and Nate will be like, he's been getting into it a lot too lately. And he'll be like, did you wash your face, in the morning? So like we kind of encourage each other there as well. Like, oh, did you forget your lip balm or whatever? But it's nice to encourage each other to do those healthy things. And I think that's really important as well, but not to do it in a way that belittles the other person. Cause I know a lot of couples
Mhm.
do this. And I've seen a lot of my friends go through this as well, where they'll be like, well, you would fit in that dress if you came on the walk with me in the morning. Like stuff like that can be so mean to
Yeah,
say to
it's
somebody.
not necessary.
Not necessary. So it's like, hey, I'd really love if you went for a walk with me. I want to talk about whatever, just to like help get them out there without belittling or, anything that would make them doubt themselves or question, like, oh, they don't love me anymore because I'm not walking and whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say encourage each other to do the healthy things. That's going to be really helpful. Mhm.
Yeah, and because we want the sustainable long-term relationship, right? So it's
Mhm.
very important that we are both healthy, a healthy
Mhm.
couple.
Yeah.
Um, there's someone who commented from Instagram. He said, "No clinging or grasping. This will
Mm.
lead to suffering. No attachment, no separation. Find the light of Amitabha Buddha, eternal life and light."
Mm.
uh, I feel that a kind. kitchen sink is essential to this way. When I have a kitchen sink, my program will grow exponentially. I'm not sure what that means.
Mm.
Without the kitchen sink and proper refrigerator, we must look at other options that can be done no
Not
matter you.
sure what that.
I'm not sure, but I think this no no clinging,
Mhm,
definitely this and grasping, like yeah, it's part of their narcissistic, like they try to bring you down and make sure that they're just to themselves.
mhm,
um yes, so yeah, sorry, I just wanted to answer that question, cover that comment.
mhm.
Grow as we go,
Oh,
Carl
I like that. Yeah,
mentions.
grow as we go.
Yeah, is your
Mhm,
partner supporting that you're growing? You're
mhm,
right. You're not stagnant. You're
mhm,
both growing.
mhm.
Yes.
I know, that's so important. It's so important, and to also think, like, if your partner is doing something positive for their life, I'm not talking about them going backwards and doing some stuff that might not be helpful for them. I'm talking about positive change where they're doing something, like, say they're getting up in the morning and they're going for their workout and you're not. And a lot of people will take that personally and they'll be like, either I'm not good enough because I'm not doing it, or they feel bad about themselves because they're not doing it. But, instead of trying to make, or if, a great example is like if they go vegan and
Hmm.
you are still eating animal products, and you kind of like, you become this friction in the relationship because you don't
Hmm.
want to change and you don't want to be better or make better decisions and stuff like that. So it's really hard because you are the one that's not changing, and if your partner is changing, instead of belittling them or trying to pull them back into your world, instead try to embrace what they're trying to do. 'Cause it
Hmm.
can be helpful for you too. It's weird how we don't embrace the things that could be good for us. Like, we're
Hmm.
so resistant to so many things and we don't wanna change because if we feel like if we change, we're gonna have to change our whole identity and stuff, and that can be really uncomfortable for a lot of people. But if someone's partner is changing in positive ways where they are, adding exercise in, or they're going to bed early, don't make them feel bad for going to bed early. Don't make them feel bad for choosing a salad instead of the burger that you're having. Don't make them feel bad for these things because they're genuinely trying in a world that is so hard to
Hmm.
make positive changes. They don't need that at home, where you're trying to make them feel bad too because they already are challenged enough, right? So
True.
it's like it's really hard. It's easier said than done, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
easy to make fun of those healthy habits. It's almost
Mhm.
like unsexy for many people. And like I remember some people saying, "Oh, I'm gonna eat this big steak and la la la," and they think that it's cool, and being kind of bad is cool.
Mhm.
And I don't, you know, I don't have the same value and not
Mhm.
interested in that. But seems to be like I would never make fun of them, but
Mhm.
it seems to be okay for them to make a fun of healthy people. It's like,
Mhm.
make fun of skinny people.
Right.
Like i- it's not. It's a taboo to make fun of fat people, but skinny people, it's okay.
Mhm.
Um, and
Or it's cool to make fun of vegans. Like, we watch so many different shows on TV and movies and TV shows. They're always like somewhere in there they make a joke about vegans. And it's
yeah,
like, "Ah, you guys, like, come on, like, we're trying to make change." And a
yeah.
big thing is it's not just a diet preference. It's an
Mm,
ethical stand against animal exploitation, and most people are against animal abuse. Like, they see a
yeah.
dog get
It
kicked and they're like, "Oh, that person should go to jail." But then they go and eat a bucket of chicken wings. And people don't realize that a bucket of chicken wings, if there's 24 wings in there was 12 birds involved in that bucket.
yeah.
Minimum. Like, you're not guaranteed that they're coming from all 12 birds, but it's like,
Mm,
it's just the amount of animal abuse that happens for the meat and dairy industry. And when someone is trying to change and trying to align their ethics with their actions, it's making fun of them isn't going to help.
Yeah, this is to me the biggest mystery of human history, why people don't get
Hmm.
that there's cruelty in an animal industry. It's just, you know, anyway, that's whole another topic.
Totally right.
Yeah, we
Uh,
can be very passionate about this.
Yep.
But I wanted to mention also two things that men usually don't hate women doing. One is nagging.
Mm.
Second is passive aggressive,
Hmm.
right? And for me, um, to resolve these issues, it's nothing but honest, you know, direct communication with the
Hmm.
person. Because why is women being nagging and passive aggressive? It's because women think that she's not being heard, right?
Hmm.
Then and she thinks that she cannot express themselves. And how do they communicate, you know?
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like another thing that's easier said than done, because I know I see a lot of people talk about this too, where it's like the woman say needs the garbage taken out. That's a really great example where they keep saying like, "Can you take the garbage out? Can you take the garbage out? Can you take the garbage out?" And then the man is like, "Oh, will you stop nagging me? I'll do it eventually," or whatever. But when you think about it, the man lives in the house too. The man shouldn't necessarily be told what to do. It's a
Mm,
basic household thing. Like if they were living on their own, they would have to take the trash out, regardless if they were told or not, right? Either that or it's just going to overflow. And eventually they're going to have to. But at the same time, it's like it's hard because we want it done and we eventually would have to do it ourselves. And then, the man is like, "Oh, I was going to do that." But then it's like, "Well, then why didn't you do it?" So it's hard because you can't keep saying the same thing again if they're not
mm,
going to like listen, right? That's a hard thing where they might have other things in their mind. They might it go through one ear and out the other. They might not, but we do that too.
mm.
So it's
Was
yeah.
there any tricks that it worked for you?
You know, Nate's just amazing. So, I don't really have any tricks. He's just amazing. So I don't know. I unfortunately don't have any tricks for that because he listens very well. But it's not just the listening part either. It's just the fact that he understands. Things just need to be done, or whatever it is. He takes things on himself as well. Like he's just an amazing person.
Mm, yeah, for me,
Oh.
when I was working for a company, and I've realized many women, Japanese women who, you know, they have maybe similar income with their husband, but somehow women are the one they're expected to do everything at home. And I'm thinking like, I mean, how is it possible? To me, that's just not fair. You know, their husband might be just relaxing, drinking beer and watching TV, and you're just busy cleaning after dinner, and you're the person who make the whole dinner. And uh, I asked her, "Did you ask your husband to participate?" And she just assumed that it's obvious that he
Mhm.
should be helping, so that it's just basically becomes
Mm.
this, nagging and passive aggressive. And I
Mhm.
told her, speak to him,
Mhm.
just honestly, just what you're feeling. And surprise, surprise, he started cleaning the dishes next
Mhm.
day. And it's just sometimes it's very simple like this,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly, you just have to say the thing. I saw something that was really, interesting. Uh, it was, like, for, like, Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, most of the time, it's the woman who arranges stuff and prepares everything or whatever. So, I saw a reel, and the woman said, "Oh, I can't wait for Thanksgiving. Let me know what you need help with." And so, the dude was like, "Oh, well, I don't know what to do. And
You
she's
have
like,
to
well,
embrace
whatever
it.
you want to do, I will help you with it. So she's
Mm,
taking that responsibility off herself by planning the entire thing and trying to get him to see, like, there's planning involved in these kinds of things.
mm,
So I thought that was interesting too. Like, tell them, say, like, oh, you want to do this thing? What would you like me to help you with? And have
mhm,
them come up with, the activities or the food menu or whatever it is. So then you can
mm,
help, obviously, but to not have it all on you. And that comes down to, again, the communication. We have to like talk
mhm.
to them and say, like, I would really appreciate this. And like I said, men want to, they are solution machines. Like, they want to fix everything. So if you say, hey honey, I have a problem, I really need, the dishes done or whatever, could you maybe, like, could and they're more likely to want to fix that. So
That's a great advice. Yes, men
mm,
loves that. Men loves that. So, oh, can you help me? And yeah, the
yeah.
fixing that they love, and it's, oh my
Mhm.
God, you're amazing. Thank you.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well, I can keep on going.
Mm.
Carl, thank you so much for your lovely comments. And I'm happy to hear that you have enjoyed our conversations. I can talk with Lisa all night long, all day long.
Same,
Uh,
same.
it was lovely, and I truly enjoyed the conversation.
Me too, me
It's
too.
so
I
much
know, I love
fun.
talking to you. Oh.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, some mention shared duties, not role that then yeah, shared good
Mm.
communication, mutual respect would be a key. Don't do tricks on your partners that we
Oh.
talk about. Yeah, good way. Definitely those are very harmful. Stick with it. No wheat, corn, soy, la, la, la. Yeah, I think it's nice to be able to share, even if it's like
Mhm.
chores. Make it fun,
Yeah.
find a rhythm that works for you. Because every couple, every person is different.
Mhm.
Now, my husband and I, we talked a lot about chores, and I tend to do everything myself. And at some point, it's like, I mean, I have so many things I want to do in my life. So, instead of going nagging direction, I talked a lot about why I need certain needs, from
Mhm.
him. And if
Mm.
he wants to take that responsibility, that's great. If not, that would be another story. So,
Right. Yeah, totally. I know, it's really interesting you, whoever it was mentioned not to play tricks on your
hmm
partner. I saw, like, there's like those joke reels that go around. There was one where it was just a compilation of the boyfriend or the husband smashing the birthday cake while their girl was taking a picture of it. Like, she's trying to take a picture, she's all happy it's her birthday, and he smashes the cake before she gets a picture. And he thinks it's funny, but she's like, oh. Or there was another one that was going around where someone's putting the very last piece of the puzzle in the puzzle, and the person who's doing the trick is filming, and right before they put the puzzle piece in, they smash the puzzle. They swipe it off the table and it falls into 1,000 pieces, and the person's left with one piece after all this hard work. And it's just like those kinds of things say, like, even though they think it's funny, it's like that's saying, like, my joy is not important to you. And these little tiny things, just they add up, and it's like you stop having joy because you feel like, oh, if I show joy, then they're going to do something to diminish my joy, and vice versa. Like, women shouldn't do that to their significant others either. So it's, yeah, those little tricks that are just like they think it's funny is not.
hmm
Mm,
True.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I think it's important that we speak up because
Mhm,
in our society, a lot of things has been twisted,
mhm,
and what I think is not funny is being played as cool or
mhm.
funny, and we need to speak up on that. So
Yeah, I agree. Oh, this was awesome, Kiko, as always. This is so
always.
much fun. Mm,
So yes, we're gonna be working very hard, especially Lisa. Oh my God, you are working so hard, not just with your 500 pages that's coming out. Whew.
mhm,
And yeah, Lisa and Chris is working very hard behind the scene also for the ultimate raw vegan bundle. This is a
mhm.
very exciting time. everything we see in that bundle that's released starting from May 1st, it's going to go only for 10 days or 11 days, right?
Mhm.
And it's only raw vegan,
I know.
low fat. You
Oh.
can't get anywhere else. And I'm really excited to be part of it. And I'm working very hard for this.
Oh, we love you. We love you. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We're really excited. But April's going to be a heavy month. So getting
Okay,
everything
so
prepared.
we'll see. I would love to do this podcast in April, but Lisa will talk about if we can do this in April. If not, May. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think May might be a better option. I don't want to take too much on because I already have so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably
Okay.
May.
Yeah. So we'll be
Mhm,
back maybe late May. Yeah.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
we'll decide the date, and we'll be back again for the healthy marriage. Again, this is a sustainable healthy marriage with the raw vegan lifestyle.
Yes.
So I hope that helped someone. And thank you so much, Lisa, again.
You're
Thanks, Carl,
welcome.
for your message.